Hello, my name is Ian McCall. Today we're going to look at pale cells in the epidermis histologically. And what I mean are these cells here. This is the upper third of the epidermis. There's actually a degree of balloon degeneration of the keratinocytes here. They've got very pale cytoplasm and very small pycnotic nuclei. Now, there are a variety of conditions that can present like this. And these are the commonest inflammatory ones: acrodermatitis enteropathica, zinc deficiency, necrolytic migratory erythema, necrolytic acral erythema, pellagra, which is what this is, and epidermolytic hyperkeratosis. In all of these conditions, the pale cells are in the upper third of the epidermis. So let's look at clinical first before we look at the histology of these. These are various examples in Global Skin Atlas of acrodermatitis enteropathica. Zinc deficiency, usually in premature babies or babies who have just been weaned. And there's a couple of pictures that give you an idea. Let's just look at this one. Often they have this periorificial rash. You can see it's weepy, you can see it's scaly, there are erosions here as well. And the erosions are essentially because of that damage to the keratinocytes in the upper part of the epidermis. Let's just go back and have a quick look at some others. Look at the perianal area, look at the crusting and the erosions at the edge from that pathology. Necrolytic acral erythema is a bit different. It almost looks a bit psoriasiform, although there's some changes in the epidermis here with hyperpigmentation as well. But it's usually acral, often over the dorsum of the foot and the toes, seen particularly in people who may have hepatitis C, and also in individuals who are on chemotherapy. You can get this this condition. And again, the histology are clear cells, the upper third of the epidermis. Necrolytic migratory erythema, that's the rash that is associated with glucogonoma syndrome. Again, there's probably deficiency of zinc and other amino acids that gives rise to the same picture. And if we can look at some clinicals, this was probably one of the better clinicals here from the Primary Care Dermatology Society. Spreading annular lesions, scale and erosions in the edge, again associated with that necrosis of the upper third of the epidermal cells. Next one is pellagra. These are images of pellagra. You can see the similarity between all of these pathologies. Let's just, for instance, look at this one. Again, that erosive crusted edge, erosions on the surface here, a well-demarcated red, scaly and crusted rash, usually on sun-exposed areas, face, back of hands and on the feet. And pellagra is niacin deficiency on the B group vitamins. So they all have a similar clinical appearance. Let's just look at the histology. These are some comparison images in Path Presenter, and if we just look at this for necrolytic acral erythema, first of all, there we go. A sort of psoriasiform hyperplasia here, but with necrosis, balloon degeneration, pycnotic nuclei of the upper third of the epidermis. This was the picture of pellagra that we had already shown you, and we have one here of the glucogonoma syndrome. Let's just have a look at necrolytic migratory erythema. We'll get into that one. Not quite so obvious, this one. I don't know that I would have picked that. You know, you're looking for changes here. We may need to get in closer here. It may be this layer here that we have to look at closely. Not sure if that's parakeratosis. Certainly looks like it. Usually you get some necrotic cells in each of these conditions as well. You may get a little bit of intraepidermal vesiculation too. The psoriasiform hyperplasia tends to be a feature of each of them. You may get a bit of papillary dermal edema as well. Let's see if there's a better image of that one that we can see. Nope, can't really bring that one up so well. You get the impression there's a bit of pallor here in the upper third, but certainly it's not the same extent as the necrosis that keratinocyte necrosis you're seeing in the pellagra case or the necrolytic acral erythema case. But it may vary depending on the severity of the condition. The other thing that can give clear cells in the epidermis are certain clear cell neoplasms. The processing removes glycogen, mucin or lipid from the cells, and so they appear clear. A clear cell acanthoma is just a variant of seborrheic keratosis, where some of the keratinocytes are enlarged with glycogen in them, and therefore they become clear. You can get clear cell variants of other tumours, sebaceous gland tumours, metastatic renal tumours, and you can also get clear cell nevi. Let's just look at an example, say, of a clear cell acanthoma. This is one. Let's just go in here. So this is a clear cell acanthoma. There's fairly confluent parakeratosis here, but there's also some neutrophils and plasma in this area up here. You've got a sort of psoriasiform hyperplasia, some acanthosis here, and if we look in, quite a few of the keratinocytes here have a clearer cytoplasm. You may also get some neutrophils, nuclear dust in the epidermis here itself. You can see some other neutrophils making their way up here. Occasionally you'll get some scattered dyskeratotic cells as well, but I'm not picking those up as well here. You usually get hypogranulosis and a sort of thin suprapapillary plates, because I suppose, depending on the biopsy, psoriasis might be part of a differential diagnosis here. And the lesion, though, is usually fairly well demarcated because it is a type of seborrheic keratosis. But anyway, that's the picture of clear cell acanthoma with the neutrophils and confluent parakeratosis. This is an example of a metastatic clear cell renal carcinoma. Usually they're fairly well circumscribed like this, and the cells have fairly abundant clear cytoplasm. There you can see the degree of nuclear atypia that's involved. In the skin, it's usually in the lower part of the dermis, and sometimes you'll see the cells infiltrating between the collagen bundles as well. But again, it's the clear cell variant. You can get clear cell variants of melanoma as well, and you can get clear cell nevi. So yeah, you've got to look for the other features of of malignancy and do the special stains that are necessary to make the diagnosis. Vacuolization of keratinocytes can simulate pale cells. Now, this is in the upper portion of the epidermis here. You can see these pale changes in keratinocytes due to the papillomavirus. This is called chondrocytosis. So let's have a little look at the histology of that. You've got this compact ortho keratosis, a little bit of focal parakeratosis in areas. This is usually at the tips of these digitations. Occasionally you get a wee bit of hemorrhage up here in the parakeratotic horn. You can see that when you look at the dermatoscope, you see the little hemorrhagic dots. That digitated epidermis with hyperplasia and confluent hypergranulosis as well, very marked there. And these are the basophilic keratohyalin bodies, with clear spaces around the nuclei of the upper keratinocytes. You can see the viral particles within the cells here. They sometimes call them owl-eye cells. There may or may not be an inflammatory infiltrate in the base of the lesion. But those are there may just feature some extravasation of viral particles into the overlying epidermis here. There isn't much of an inflammatory infiltrate in the base of this one, but certainly the digitate pattern of the epidermis here is quite prominent, and these clear cell changes are chondrocytosis. So verruca is the cause of that. Now the last group of conditions that can give pale cells in the epidermis are those that show pagetoid spread. So superficial spreading melanoma, both mammary and extramammary pagets, Bowen's disease, sebaceous carcinoma, and rarely a Merkel cell carcinoma will give you the phenomenon of pagetoid spread. There's really no similarity, obviously, between the conditions clinically, but there's a great deal of similarity histologically. So let's have a look at some of these. Let's compare the histology of some of these. This is superficial spreading melanoma. My apologies for having it upside down. Here's pagetoid spread, these clear cells, melanoma cells, ascending up into the stratum granulosum here with the nests at the dermo-epidermal junction. This is all an in situ. There's a bit of melanin in melanophages here. But again, you can see examples of some of the clear cells, pagetoid spread of the melanocytes. Now, in comparison, this is extramammary Paget's disease. Let's have a little look at it. We'll need to get that in. Here we go. Let's just get into some of the clearer cells here. Now this is all epidermis here, but you can see these nests of clear cells in the epidermis. You need to do special stains again to determine that these are extramammary Pagets. They can be derived from an adenocarcinoma adjacent, or perhaps just from a apocrine gland. But you can see the clear cell nature and the involvement. Now, rarely Merkel cell can do this, and also Bowen's disease, clear cell Bowen's, can present like this as well. So, and sometimes even clear cell variant of Mycosis fungoides can present like this as an intraepidermal collection. Now, lastly, the last one we wanted to show here was sebaceous carcinoma. We'll just bring it up. Now, sebaceous carcinoma is usually found near the eyes, usually in the areas with the highest concentrations of sebaceous glands. Very often the cells invade the dermis quite significantly, but sometimes they seem to be seen primarily in the epidermis itself. And if we go in and have a little look at these, again, you can see the clear cells in the epidermis. Less of them in the epidermis here. Now, it would be difficult to exclude some form of melanoma in this. So again, you need your special studies. When it does extend more deeply, there are usually quite a few mitotic figures and often necrosis in the center of lobules that are deeper down. But there's a degree of squamous differentiation with keratin on the surface here as well. So again, can be a difficult, when it's mainly intraepidermal like this, can be a difficult diagnosis to make. And again, special stains are necessary. One example I didn't mention with clear cells there was pagetoid reticulosis. This is an unusual type of T-cell lymphoma. And you get these clear cells here, collections of them invading the epidermis. It's usually a solitary lesion, but they're saying it can present as multiple lesions in the palms and soles. There's infiltrates of sort of medium-sized lymphoid cells, but many with clear cell change. So it's an unusual tumor, an unusual type of T-cell lymphoma, this, but it's another one that can give clear cells in the epidermis, and another one that needs immunoperoxidase stains to define it. So, clear cells in the epidermis, when you're looking, you can have the upper third involvement with these diseases. You can have various neoplasms, both benign and malignant, that will show clear cell change. And the main metastatic one is metastatic renal tumors. You can have the clear cells with vacuolization of the keratinocytes and chondrocytosis in verruca. And you can have clear cell nests in the epidermis in these various conditions, which I hope I've illustrated for you. Thanks very much.